You are intelligent. You understand basic math. You know you should spend less than you earn and invest the difference. Yet, year after year, your financial reality remains stagnant. There is a profound difference between knowing what to do with money and actually doing it. We assume financial success is an IQ test. It isn't. It is a test of emotional regulation and behavioral control. Over the next minutes, we are not going to discuss stock picks or tax loopholes. We are going to dismantle the psychological engine that keeps you running in place. Welcome to behavioral finance. The primary problem facing most modern earners is the knowing-doing gap. We consume endless amounts of financial content, podcasts, books, videos, yet our bank accounts don't reflect this influx of information. Why does this gap exist? Because information appeals to your prefrontal cortex, the logical, rational part of your brain. But money decisions are rarely made there. Money decisions are almost always driven by the limbic system, the ancient emotional center responsible for fear, pleasure, and survival instincts. You are trying to fight evolution with a spreadsheet. When stress hits, logic vanishes. We revert to comfortable, deeply ingrained behavioral scripts developed in childhood or through past trauma. Until you identify these subconscious scripts, no amount of financial literacy will save you. You will continue to self-sabotage just as you approach stability. Let's examine the 4 primary psychological patterns that drain wealth. The first is perhaps the most common: lifestyle creep, also known as hedonic adaptation. It's the subtle belief that because you earned more, you deserve better. A raise doesn't feel like an opportunity to save. It feels like permission to upgrade. The psychological trap here is that the new luxury quickly becomes the new baseline. The joy of the upgrade fades rapidly, but the monthly cost remains permanent. You run faster just to stay in the same emotional place. This is the hedonic treadmill. You are exhausted, but you haven't moved forward. The second pattern is the comparison trap, or relative deprivation. We rarely judge our financial health in absolute terms. We judge it relative to those around us. In a hyper-connected world, your neighborhood is now global. You are no longer keeping up with the Joneses. You are keeping up with algorithms curated to show you peak lifestyles. This triggers a primal distress signal. If others have more resources, your brain perceives a survival threat. Spending becomes a way to signal safety and status to the tribe. You buy things you don't need, with money you don't have, to impress people you don't know. It's financial suicide fueled by social anxiety. The third pattern is present bias, sometimes called hyperbolic discounting. This is the immense difficulty human beings have with delayed gratification. To your brain, your future self is a stranger. Saving money feels like giving cash to someone you don't know, while spending today rewards the person you are right now. We vastly overvalue immediate pleasure and deeply discount future rewards. We would rather feel okay today than feel great in 10 years. This isn't a moral failing. It's a cognitive wiring issue designed for a world where the future was uncertain and resources were scarce. The fourth pattern is loss aversion. Psychologically, the pain of losing 100 pounds is roughly twice as intense as the pleasure of gaining 100 pounds. This causes many people to hoard cash in savings accounts that lose value to inflation, rather than investing, because the short-term volatility of the market feels like a loss. You are playing not to lose rather than playing to win. And in the long run, playing not to lose guarantees stagnation. These 4 patterns, lifestyle creep, comparison, present bias, and loss aversion, form an interlocking cage around your potential wealth. They are subconscious. They run in the background of your operating system, dictating your choices before you are even consciously aware of them. Understanding them is the first step, but understanding is not enough. We need to confront the lies we tell ourselves to keep these patterns alive. We use comforting narratives to justify our lack of progress. I don't earn enough yet. I'll start when things settle down. I deserve this treat. These aren't reasons, they are rationalizations. They are the psychological immune system protecting your ego from the pain of change. If you want different results, you must break the addiction to your own excuses. You have to be willing to be uncomfortable. This leads us to the necessary reality checks, the truths that behavioral finance forces us to confront. Reality check. 1. Income is not wealth. Income is what flows in. Wealth is what you keep. You can have a massive income and zero wealth. Many high earners are merely high spenders. They are the working rich, entirely dependent on the next paycheck to sustain their inflated lifestyle. Reality check 2. Being busy is not the same as being productive. You spend hours managing debt, shuffling money, and hunting for deals on things you shouldn't buy. That is financial churning. True progress is often boring, automated, and quiet. If your financial life is exciting, you are probably doing it wrong. Reality check 3. You are not special. The rules of compound interest and the dangers of debt apply to you, regardless of your talent or intellect. Believing you can outsmart the system is the ultimate mark of the amateur. The professional respects the rules and uses them to their advantage. Reality check 4. No one is coming to save you, not the government, not an inheritance, not a lottery win. The moment you accept total responsibility for your financial position is the moment you gain the power to change it. Blame is a luxury you can no longer afford. So, how do we bridge the gap? We don't use willpower. Willpower is a depleting resource. We use systems. Automate everything. Savings, investments, bill payments. Remove your flawed, emotional brain from the monthly decision-making process. If you have to consciously decide to save money every month, you will eventually fail. Make success the default option. Reframe your identity. Stop saying, "I can't afford it," which feels restrictive. Start saying, "That's not a priority for me right now," which feels empowering. Shift from a goal mindset to an identity mindset. Don't try to save money. Become a saver. The actions will follow the identity. Define enough. If you don't define a finish line for your lifestyle, the goalposts will keep moving forever until you collapse from exhaustion. Understand the difference between being rich and being wealthy. Rich is loud. Wealthy is quiet. Rich is the car. Wealth is the freedom. Institute a cooling-off period for purchases over a certain amount. Give your rational brain 48 hours to catch up with your emotional impulses. Focus on increasing your gap, the space between your income and your ego. That gap is where wealth is built. Finally, forgive your past financial self. You were operating with outdated programming. Shame is a terrible motivator for long-term change. Financial freedom isn't about finding the perfect investment strategy. It's about mastering the 3 pounds of gray matter between your ears. Recognize lifestyle creep. Reject the comparison trap. Stop discounting your future self. Stop relying on willpower and start building automated systems that protect you from yourself. The journey to wealth is not an intellectual pursuit. It is a behavioral practice. It's about doing the boring things consistently over decades. You have the knowledge. Now you must close the gap. If you found this helpful, consider subscribing for more investigations into the psychology of money. Until next time, remember, your behavior is your greatest asset or your biggest liability. Choose wisely.